educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. We have a wonderful guest and she's going to be special because, as you well know, for this particular show, most of my listeners are women, and we're trying to make sure that y'all are empowered, that you feel encouraged, and that you have the know-how to inspire your community, both internally and externally. So I thank y'all very much for listening today. I have a guest who is the co-founder of NourishDoc, a holistic wellness platform focused to empower women through their hormonal transition from PMS, peri to postmenopausal years. She has developed cultural sensitive, affordable, innovative self-care app. Yes, that's a brief analysis of her bio, but she does a whole heck of a lot more, and we will dive into that as we go through this conversation. I thank y'all very much for listening to us, and I present to you Amita Sharma. Amita, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Maurice. As I was talking to you earlier, I feel so flattered when a guy is interviewing me for women-related.
Well,
right? So I'm very flattered.
Well, listen, I mean, looking at your bio, I mean, as I told you, my wife is in, her 50s. So what you talk about, I am going through.
Definitely, yes, right? Because, she's kind of sending the vibes, whatever her things are to you,
Yes.
to any partners. And it's not just the women who go through, you're absolutely right. The partners they have are also experiencing some kind of a backlash of
Right.
their symptoms, so to speak.
I mean, and so for myself, I only can speak upon my experiences. When she went through pregnancy, I felt it.
Yeah.
When she has her, Mother Nature time of the month, I feel it. I go through it myself, so I definitely relate to whatever she's going through. I feel it.
Yeah.
To be
That's
honest.
great. I mean, you are a true, very amazing partner to her, and she's
Thank you.
very lucky to have someone like you.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And so, as we're talking about these moments in our lives, some of us are transitioning, right, into a place where we don't feel confident or comfortable in the corporate space. A lot of us feel like we're aging out. The company makes us feel like we're aging out. So how would you suggest to someone that is dealing with that moment, how would you suggest for them to deal with that?
It's become very common, with the technology, the AI, the ML, right? New technologies come in, and people, our age, right? We feel that we kind of belong to an era where the computers were just beginning to come out, right?
Right.
I mean, in the sense of people in 50s is what I meant, right?
Right.
So what you do, right? And you feel that, and especially in women more specifically, and I can share definitely my story too, is that when women are also going through in their 40s, and that's what happened to me, hormonal fluctuations that start, if you're going through perimenopause, and the whole world, the corporate world does not understand what the heck it is. And, there's no support. And suddenly as a woman you are trying to do your job, but you cannot concentrate, and then age is all those things factor, right? So I think the thing to do for women, men, it doesn't matter who it is to really fight back, in the sense, fight back in the sense, equip yourself with the right kind of knowledge that is relevant in today's world. That's what I would say, right? Rather than feeling, oh my God, I am getting old and I'm no longer relevant, and the young kids are coming like in their 20s, and they're going to take over because they understand AI, ML, or whatever XYZ topic
Right.
more. than I do. I think the thing to do that is that constantly as human beings, we need to keep reinventing ourselves and
Mhm.
keep equipping ourselves with the right knowledge that's relevant in today's and present day world.
Mhm.
That's the only way of survival. If you go back even years and years, decades or centuries back, you
Mhm.
need to change as a human being,
Right. And,
right?
and
Change is constant, you
and I
know?
think something like that, a lot of times we don't remember that we were that young person at one
Yeah,
time. We were the one
yeah,
that was breaking the barriers. We were ones that bringing new ideas that might have
yes.
felt like those that were above us might have felt
Hmm.
displaced as well. So let's not forget where we were at one time.
Absolutely. And at that time, turning 50, 55 used to be, oh my God, you're old and you
Hmm.
should retire, right? If you
Right.
think, if I think about my dad, and that generation was very different. You would
Hmm.
retire at age 55 or something like that. And nowadays, you don't want to retire. You want to
Hmm.
be relevant within the society, right?
Right. Right.
So things have changed in our generation a lot, and also we
Hmm.
need more money.
Yes. Yes.
It's a fact. Our parents were happy with simple things, and
Yes.
there was not much aspirations, so to speak,
Hmm.
or materialism. Materialistic aspirations. I should say that they were
Right.
happy with simple living, simple things. All around the world, it was true. Now things are very different. So,
Hmm.
so I think times have changed. At one point, now the society at our age, we want to be relevant. We don't
Hmm.
want to just be on the side step of the road,
Right.
let the whole kind of life goes by, and we are
Hmm.
just kind of sidestepped. I think
Right.
there's a lot of changes that are happening when you are in this age group.
Right. So, what would you suggest to someone if they are telling themselves like that self speak of "I can't do it," or like the podcast says that will
Yeah.
never work, right? So, what would you suggest for someone to say to themselves or habits for them to get over
Yeah.
that? Because a lot of times we don't, our habits aren't right.
Hmm. Hmm. See, I think you need a person can do anything they put their mind to. We know that, right?
Right.
If you say, "Hey, I want to be whatever," if you put
Hmm.
your heart and soul into it, you can become that. So
Hmm.
I think it's a lot of self-talk. You have to get rid of the negative self-talk. I
Hmm.
think it happens to a lot of people. I have done that to myself multiple times. Negative self-talk. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, other people think low self-esteem of me or whatever, right? So I
Right.
think that whole we are the ones who are actually doing that to ourselves is what
Hmm.
I'm saying. As
Hmm.
a person, I'm capable of doing whatever I'm put my mind to it. So if
Right.
I need to convince myself, hey, I can do it. I am good enough, right? I am, if I put my heart and soul into it, I will be able to accomplish that. So I think it's the
Hmm.
positive talk that women and the people have to do to themselves to make sure they stay motivated and they feel worthy of themselves, that they are good enough for themselves or they're good enough for other people. I think a lot of us go through this whole trajectory what I'm
Hmm.
explaining as we start getting older,
Hmm.
because we are tired of raising by after raising kids.
Right.
It's a fact.
Right.
you know it takes a toll on us after raising kids. We are also tired of long non-stop work and work and work and
Hmm.
constantly be on the treadmill, right? we are
Hmm.
we, we are tired. So how do you now get yourself motivated again to make sure that you are also as energetic as you were when you
Hmm.
were in your 20s,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I think it happens to most of us in this age group is what I'm saying.
Right.
So I think so take a break. It's okay to take a break, or talk to yourself, talk to your inner self, right?
Hmm.
That go to Himalayas, go to Mount Everest. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Discover yourself, go in I don't know, Buddhist century or whatever it is you. I haven't done that. I'm just
And I
but
think that's
travel
funny.
to, yeah, no, no, seriously. Travel to wherever you have to go, in Eat, Pray, and Love. She goes to an ashram in India, discovering herself, right? Do that. Is what I'm saying. Do whatever gives you that, that discovery of yourself. It's
Hmm.
important. Wherever you have to go, take some time off, take a month off, and whatever time you need, and say, hey, why am I existing? Why is God still telling me I'm
Mm-hmm.
alive? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not dead. Because there is some cosmic thing that's telling me you are alive. You're still going to contribute something in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So what can I do? I think
Hmm.
that's what I tell people is to be kind to yourself, take time for yourself and discover yourself whichever way you think is appropriate, and then say, okay, there's a reason why I'm alive and I better
Mm-hmm.
do something when I'm alive, right?
Hmm. So,
You know?
so play with me for a moment, Amita.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because a lot of times, I know as I've done this myself, where I feel as though I don't have time to go to the mountains or to the forest or to the village or whatever it might be, because I
Yeah.
feel as though I need to make money. I need to
Yeah.
pay that bill. I need to. So
Yeah.
I don't have time to one,
Right.
reinvent myself in that space. But
Yeah.
it's something else that you brought up as well. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't even think I know really who I am because I had to raise these kids, because I have been married. I've been working paycheck to paycheck. I've been trying to figure out my
Yeah.
career. So how do I reinvent myself if I really don't know who I am?
So I think, in that case, you're absolutely right. Majority of all over the world, for that matter, men and women
Mm-hmm.
have to work to make a living, and they cannot afford to take time off and do whatever is a discretionary income or discretion, right?
Right.
Income. They don't have that. So I think then the best way is to join some kind of maybe a faith group. That
Mm.
maybe if you are a faith person,
Mm-hmm.
most of
Mm-hmm.
us are belong to some kind of a faith. Not that you have to be um, extreme faith is
Right.
what I'm saying,
Right.
right? But some kind of a spirituality, I
Right.
should say that. And so you could be part of that spirituality organization or some kind of a faith organization
Mm-hmm.
where you are trying to discover yourself, and at the same time you are working.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important for you to take some time for yourself. And
Right.
if you cannot travel, you can take still time being at home, but be part of something where that is helping you to discover yourself, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, any organization is
Right.
what I'm saying, whether whatever that will work for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are plenty of them around in this country as well as all over the world,
Right.
but based on your interest. It doesn't have to be within within the area where you live. It could be in
Mm-hmm.
an online organization or something that helps you discover who you are, right? You can
Mm.
still do that. And that's what I'm saying, is that physically, if you cannot do that, but
Mm-hmm.
yes, mentally you can.
And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the everyday that
Hmm.
sometimes, again, for myself, I've had moments where I did not want to sit down and think about myself. I didn't want to look at the man in the mirror, quote
Yeah.
unquote, because I didn't like what I saw. And so I did not want to face the
Yeah.
challenges or the issues or the problems. And I'm using those words specifically because those
Yeah.
are, again, how we talk ourselves
Hmm.
out of any situation. So
Yeah.
so what would you suggest to someone that they having a difficult time looking at that mirror? Whether, I mean,
Yeah.
and I had said this to a person the other day about looking in the mirror, about, sometimes you brushing your teeth and you looking in the mirror. And I
Yeah.
remember at one time I was brushing my teeth and I used to turn my back to the mirror because I didn't want to see myself. You know, So how do you overcome a situation like that if I can't even look at myself because I don't even recognize myself?
Because you have been so engrossed in doing so many things that the world wants you to do, that you have stopped paying attention to who you are,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to look at that same person because you don't recognize yourself, who you were when you were in your 20s 30 years back to
Right.
now, who you are. Because the society wanted you whatever you, and you have spent your 3 decades in caring for
Mm-hmm.
others, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's your parents, then raising kids, your wife, your other, being part of the community, doing what the community expects you to do,
Mm-hmm.
all those things, right? We
Right.
all think like that. And the money part is important because you have to put food on the table, so you can't take any time off.
Right.
And you wanted to be this guy when you were in your 20s to be able to do something that you actually enjoyed doing,
Right. Right.
right? But you don't have no time to do that anymore because of
Mm-mm.
all these things. That so there is an issue. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe there is a way that you start taking off some of the things that
Mm-hmm.
are occupying you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like typically, all of us are switched. We are sandwich generation.
Yeah,
We're
most
trying to
definitely.
take care of this and that, and we're trying to please everyone. See,
Right.
that's the other problem. We're so, and it goes with me. I try to please everyone, right?
Right.
And during that whole course of a couple of decades, I stopped who I was because I
Mm-hmm.
was so busy trying to please everyone around me that I didn't recognize who I was and stopped taking care of myself and putting on weight. I
Mm-hmm.
look older than I used to look, all those things. And I didn't like myself,
Right.
right? About a decade back, I'm like, what have I become? I barely, right? It happened to me so much.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is I think you really have to go back and internalize your thoughts, and you need your me time to internalize those thoughts and say, okay, what do I want to become in the next decade, as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I
Mm-hmm.
doing that the other person can do by themselves? Why am I taking care of something? Or what am I going into some kind of a relationship that the other person is not listening to me, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting all this anguish and confrontation
Mm-hmm.
that I should not have, right? So I think all these self-talk has to happen with yourself, like who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone, and I'm telling you with my personal experience here, is that some people I always get into, there was always a confrontation, I should say that,
Mm.
for me to have a successful relationship with that person, and I have to lower my self-esteem to please that person. Otherwise, it would never work, as
Right.
an example. So you need to recognize that. And sometimes those relationships can be very, very close to you. They could be as close as your parents, as an example.
Mm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
an example, right?
Right.
Or someone, your kids, can bully you a little bit. Teenage kids can be brutal. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah, they can.
They can be seriously brutal.
Yes, most definitely.
Right? So here you are as a guy, you're caught between these teenagers who are throwing tantrums all the time.
Yeah.
Right? I think it happens to all of us. And your spouse is going through some hormonal fluctuations, and
Mm-hmm.
they, and absolutely right. And then you have other family members who have certain expectations, and you are nowhere. You are
Right.
lost,
Right.
right? I
Yeah.
think it happens to all of us. I'm telling you, it happens to all of us, and we don't like who we are. And when we
Mm-mm.
look at in the mirror, I'm like, that's not who I wanted to be. I'm like,
Right.
what is life? Right?
Right.
I
And,
have no time. I'm not doing anything that is giving me joy or laughter or
right.
enjoyment.
And I think because of that, we miss who we really are and our true purpose in life, and
Yes.
understanding
Yes.
and getting a better fulfillment. Like we're no longer living. We're not
Yes.
experiencing
Yes.
life. And I think those are some of the things that we miss, both male and
Yes.
female, but
Hmm.
ultimately, because your focus is, the ladies, we
Hmm.
sometimes they miss that because of the, like you said, AI, or feeling like it's a male dominated industry and I can't
Hmm.
learn, and this, all those type of
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
sometimes, and I've had some lady clients that felt that way, that, hey,
Yeah.
I can't move forward. I don't know what to do. And
Yeah.
I never had interest in learning a trade, or, those basic things, quote unquote, as they called it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, you might have missed something that would help
Yeah.
you out now. So
Yeah.
how would you suggest for someone to kind of almost get back to basics? Just understand, like, hey, like, this is where we are. Let's move forward. Because, like you said, AI. I'm gonna be honest with you. We've been dealing with AI for a very long time.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
what, like, AI has been around. It's just now it's really
Yes.
being put in front of your face this way. So how would you suggest for someone to get back to basics, being a child again, and learning and experiencing life, things like that? So how would you talk to someone?
So I think you have to determine, or you have to distinguish, if you cannot keep up with the technology, and technology always keeps changing, right?
Right.
In the last couple of decades or so, I have been in the tech industry. I've always had to retrain myself every
Mm-hmm.
year or every couple of years for something new and jazzy comes up, and the new kid is always, the Mark Zuckerberg of the company. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Right? So how can you keep up? Because we are getting out there, whatever. So I think maybe recognize some of the industries where the AI or some of the all these cool tech is not going to impact your your industry, as an example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, that could be a way, finding something that where the technology cannot impact you
Mm-hmm.
as much as it would in other industries. That could be
Mm.
another way of really going into and doing your research. I don't have the answers right
Yeah,
now, but
right.
right, but it could be like in the food industry. Everybody has to eat, as an example, in
Yes.
restaurants and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to eat produce. You could be in the food industry making some jams and selling them,
Mm-hmm.
as an example, right?
Right.
I'm thinking simple things like that. Or you could be doing some simple things of I don't know, making tortillas and selling. The AI is not touching tortillas.
That's funny.
Right?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I mean, this is just an example.
Right.
Or in the medical industry, being in nursing, AI is not touching that.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a touchy feely, the physical aspects of human to human interaction
Mm-hmm.
is needed. You could research into putting your energy into where the technology will not touch you, or
Mm.
technology is not smart enough to take you over there, is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Physical therapy, being a physical therapist, masseur, you have to
Mm.
massage people. There are things where you have to have interaction,
Mm-hmm.
where women or men or whoever will have to come to you physically,
Mm-hmm.
or will have to do that without technology being the denominator as to you have to be on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is what my recommendation would be, to recognize those kind of work or industries, and it's not difficult to train yourself in those, because
Hmm.
the technology is not touched you in that area, and excel at that, and then see what you can do.
Nice.
Right? I mean, these
Yeah.
are just journal observations.
No, and that's fine. And that's fine. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate the information you've provided. Um,
Hmm.
so before we end the show, I have to ask you, for
Hmm.
those individuals, those ladies who are out there dealing with these limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
the self-talk, talking themselves out of situations, and not
Yeah.
under even understanding some of the hormonal changes they might be going through, you know,
Yes. Yes.
where can they reach
Yes.
out to you and talk to you and listen to some of your content? Where can they find you?
Yeah, yeah. So women are going through these hormonal shifts. We know that is a fact of life. They start as early as 40s,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes on until 51, 52, and then after that as well. So it's women don't understand what is happening. So that's why we have built NourishDoc. It's a
Mm.
holistic wellness platform for women going through these hormonal shifts, starting from the perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. So for now, they can go to our website at www.nourishdoc.com,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be rolling out an app version where they will be able to get help from
Mm.
um, holistic therapies, 20 plus, all evidence based,
Hmm.
from holistic experts from all over the world, so they can understand what's happening to their
Mm-hmm.
bodies,
Mm-hmm.
physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional, and then they can get help. That
Mm.
is the intention.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate you coming on. Of course, that information will be in the show notes. So, in case you're
Hmm.
walking, driving, whatever it might be in the market, you can always go back to the show and click on the link because the link will be in the show notes. So, but I thank you very much for coming on the show. But I got to ask you my question before I let you go.
Absolutely,
You
yes.
ready? You ready?
Mhm. Yes.
Would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
So I will choose a fork. I'll
Okay.
tell you why.
Okay.
The 3 doors, I have no idea where they're leading to. It is sort of like, okay, there are 3 doors here,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know which door goes which way.
Okay.
There's a lot of uncertainty behind those 3 doors. I have no idea.
Right.
But a fork, when I go driving on the road on a fork, I can see where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
and I sort of have an understanding of this fork will go in this direction and this
Mm-hmm.
fork will go in that direction. So I am I am in control of choosing my own destiny, which road I can
Mm.
go to, versus a complete oblivion of 3 doors where I have no clue. That's my thinking.
That's-
Would that make sense or not, I don't know, but for me it made
no, it
sense.
makes sense. It makes sense. It makes total sense. But and I appreciate you being a good sport, with that question. So, because you were such a good sport with that question, I got one more question for you.
Oh my God,
If you
lucky
can,
one here.
if you could choose anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would you sing a duet with?
Oh my God. Wow. I'm not. I used to sing when I was younger, but I
Nice.
stopped singing completely.
Really?
So I don't think I'm a singer.
So you sing
You know
very
what I'm saying?
quietly.
Yeah, I'm a bathroom singer. So I think I will be the wrong person to sing, and then
Really?
everyone will go away. But yeah, if you ask me that question, who would I like to have lunch with or dinner with?
Okay.
Someone who's doing a great work
Mm-hmm.
in the world, for
Mm-hmm.
that matter. So I think that I would say Melinda Gates. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
she's someone I personally admire a lot.
Nice.
She has been using her wealth in the right way to channel her wealth for betterment of society.
Right.
I think there are a lot of people. Warren Buffett is another one,
Mm-hmm.
but there are few people in the world who are using their wealth to improve the society, to improve women's health, women's
Mm-hmm.
wellness. So these are some of the people that I personally admire a
Nice.
lot, because that they are not displaying the wealth in a wrong way, but
Mm-hmm.
they're using the wealth to put to help other people. Those are the kind of people I would love to hang out with.
That's nice. That's nice. Good. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
and I appreciate you rolling with the punches, right? Playing with the questions, but I like the spin as well.
yeah,
Because it's the value that
yes,
individual brings. So I
correct.
appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. So I thank you very much for coming on the show. Like I said, all your information will be in the show notes. And I thank you very much, everyone, for listening to That Will Never Work podcast. And I will talk to you just a little later.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?